Greetings, Internet. It is I who just wishes to conspire with other good people of this planet to leave a better world for future generations than the world we all grew up in. I've been getting some feedback on the documentary that I made, and some people talk about how we should have just obeyed the judge and submitted to his will so that we wouldn't have gotten arrested, and other people talk about how we should have just gotten an attorney and, maybe Henry was in the wrong. And all I have to say about that is if that's the way you feel, then why don't you go over and hand over all of your property without a lawful or legal process to it? Because if you feel that way, then that's what's going to happen eventually. Anyways, today I am going to go over some paperwork. I finally got the findings in order for the criminal contempt, and I'm going to show you how it is false and how they do not go by their own procedures when they wish to break the law. So right here you can see Jonathan Cross, direct criminal contempt, 18 CR 291. And this is the contempt order, summary proceedings, findings, and facts. And a pretrial motion hearing. I was disrupting court by refusing to be seated and refusing to obey the directions of the bailiff. So as long as you just obey whatever they tell you to do, maybe they might allow you to die in peace, because they definitely will not allow you to live and use the property that you work for. So you can see this is dated 3/26 of 2018. Mac Britton signs it. No other judicial officer signs it. The order of commitment, appeal entries. So it is ordered for the clerk to deliver two certified copies of those findings in order to the sheriff, and the sheriff's supposed to basically give me one. This was never done. And the only certification that happened was when a friend of mine picked this up on 8/15 of 2018. So that's when the certification happened by the clerk's office. So here is something that they added, and I just wish to point out that no paperwork in the file that we have or got from them for me is time-stamped or clocked in by the court clerk. None whatsoever. So here's a financial status inquiry. Now they're saying that I owe $330 because of $50 failure to comply fee, because you have to comply with them even if it's unlawful. So a failure to comply fee was added to the $200 that you can see here. Here's another piece of paper, criminal bill of cost. And you can see where, they charge me $40 per day for 2 days, $80. Installment plan setup fee, $20. I never agreed to any of this. And you can see right down here that's dated, and the name of the clerk, CMC, $280, but it is not stamped or clocked in at all. And another thing, people, is that when you listen to my actual summary proceeding, the Mac Britton never tells me that I have a fine or that court costs are due. He never says anything like that. He never orders me to pay anything. So on the order for my contempt charge, it never was returned. The process was never returned to the clerk's office. And here is the statute right here from the North Carolina legislature, where it actually makes it a crime. It's a class 1 misdemeanor to not return the process or making a false return. So they are not obeying their own statutes and procedures. Okay, so this paper right here is for an order of arrest, and you can see order of arrest, and this is for criminal contempt, and this was issued 10/26 of 2017. Here is the return of service. So this is when an officer returns the service and says that the order has been executed. You can see the date served is October 30th of 2017. It was received on October 26th of 2017. It was served at 12:32 p.m. and then it was returned on the same date, and it has the judicial officer who signs off on it, as well as the officer who's making the return from the sheriff's department. And this is what things should look like. So here's the findings of facts and conclusions of law. As you can see, it is stamped in by the clerk's office, because that way it's time and dated so that everybody knows that this was a lawful process and a lawful order, and that it was done within the time constraints of the law. And that's why it was filed on this particular day. So earlier in this video, I showed you where 18 CR 291, that was my arrest order. This is number 18 CR 290. So this is an order for arrest, and the case file number is 18 CR 290, which is one number before my order. And if you come down here to the date that this was issued, it was issued on July 11th of 2018, which shows a really, really high probability that they just put my paperwork into a case, and that's why they never stamped it, is because it is all made up. Because the number right before my case is dated for July 11th of 2018, even though I was arrested on March 26th of 2018. And again, the return of service. So this, the date received was July 11th of 2018. The date it was served was 7/13 of 2018. It was served at 7:55 p.m. It does not have a return date, but again, you see a judicial officer and an officer from the sheriff's department signed off on this. So right here we have the Henderson County Sheriff's Office, Henderson County, and we have put in the dates from March 25th of 2018 to March 28th of 2018, which is the day that I got out. The charge is for contempt. And there is absolutely no record of anybody being charged for contempt. Now we're going to take out the charge. So we'll just say that anybody could have gotten arrested for anything on those days. And okay, so I was not arrested on the 29th. There's nowhere where I was arrested on the 29th or the 28th. There's nowhere where I was arrested on the 28th or the 27th of this page. Nowhere where I was arrested the 27th or the 26th. And nowhere that I was arrested before. So this is from the county sheriff's office, and they have no record of arrest for a Jonathan Cross. Yet they held my body in custody for 48 hours with no lawful or legal right to do so. Hey, it's JC here from the JC and Shaman show. And if you stand for rights, you should be standing with us. If you stand for black, white, yellow, brown rights, you should stand with us. If you stand for women's rights, men's rights, you should stand with us. If you stand for gay rights, lesbian rights, you should stand with us. If you stand for the right to carry a firearm in public, open carry, to defend yourself and defend your family, because you don't know when something will happen and a cop might not be around, you should stand with us. because these rights don't matter anything if a court of law will not hold them up. So it doesn't matter what the legislature says. It doesn't matter what the statutes are. If you cannot have your rights upheld in a court of law, you do not have them. They took my body and threw it in a cage for 2 days, taking me away from my family and my home. And the state will not do anything unless you, the public, make them do something about it. And if you think that it's okay that they did this to me, you're gonna be next. If you go to church and you don't stand with us, you're allowing evil to win. You're not standing for Yahweh, the Father, the Creator. If you love Mel Gibson movies and you don't stand with us, you're a hypocrite. If you celebrate the 4th of July and freedom and ice cream and apple pie and you don't stand with us, you're lying to yourself. I love you people, and I love all of the police officers and all of the clerks. I just wish that you would do the right thing. Thank you.
American nation, and our rights are being threatened by a tyrant 3,000 miles away.
Would you tell me, please, Mr. Howard, why should I trade one tyrant 3,000 miles away for 3,000 tyrants 1 mile away? An elected legislature can trample a man's rights as easily as a king can.
I am William Wallace, and I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men, and free men you are. What will you do with that freedom? Will you fight?
Fight against that? No! We will run, and we will live.
Aye. Fight and you may die. Run and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
You are Mr. Cross, is that correct, sir? All right, that's the way we're going to play, that's fine. Mr. Cross, Jonathan Cross, you've been cited for direct criminal contempt of court for your refusal to obey the directions of the sheriff in open court, causing a disruption in court with Mr. Ramo this morning at approximately 9:15 a.m. You have an attorney representing you, sir. Is there anything that you want to say about this?
I don't understand what's going on. I do have eyes.
You speak English?
I speak common. I speak as common.
You seem to have some accent. Is that just a natural-born accent, or are you from somewhere other than here, other than the United States? Is English your native language?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to do that.
All right. Thank you. To the standard of beyond a reasonable doubt, Madam Clerk, and are verdict of guilty to the offense of direct criminal contempt of court, Mr. Sheriff, or Madam Sheriff, to be held in your custody for 48 hours, that time commencing at 9:15 a.m. this morning. He may be taken out. Good luck to you, sir.